Picture this. You wake up one morning, check the headlines, and realize your country's president just won again, for the 8th time. That's right, Cameroon's political repeat button just broke. President Paul Biya, the man who's been in power since disco was cool, has done it again. And now, the streets are basically screaming, "Dude, it's time to pass the baton." From Douala to Yaoundé, the tension is so thick you could slice it with a machete. Buckle up, fam, because today we're diving into how post-election chaos turned Cameroon into a full-blown pressure cooker. When those election results hit the airwaves, Cameroon basically said, "Hold my beer." Douala turned into a protest zone, blocked roads, closed schools, and a city that looked like Monday and apocalypse had a baby. The protesters weren't just marching, they were making a statement, loud, raw, and unfiltered. People are tired of the same old cycle, and this time they didn't just tweet their frustration, they brought it to the streets. Traffic stopped, businesses locked up, and the air was filled with that unmistakable mix of anger and hope. Cameroon wasn't just protesting, it was erupting. And if you thought that was wild, wait till you hear how the government answered back. Spoiler alert, tanks don't do diplomacy. Yaoundé, the capital, doesn't even look like itself right now. It's got more armed soldiers than shoppers. It's like a live set from Call of Duty African Edition. Every corner's got a patrol, every street hums with tension, and the government's message is clear: stay quiet or stay indoors. The heavy deployment has people nervous, but not silent. Even European diplomats are throwing in their favorite phrase, deep concern, which basically means we're watching, but we ain't sending troops. The vibe is cold, metallic, and anxious. Cameroon feels like a kettle about to whistle, and nobody knows if the lid can hold much longer. But who's behind this whole show? Let's meet the man with more years in office than most of us have birthdays. Let's talk about President Paul Biya, the original political marathon runner. The man's been in power since 1982. Yeah, that's before the first iPhone, before Facebook, even before MTV's golden days. The guy's basically seen the world change from cassette tapes to TikToks and still said, "I'm not done yet." At 91, Biya isn't just the oldest serving ruler in the world, he's practically a walking archive of Cameroon's modern history. Critics call him the ghost president because he rarely appears in public, but somehow his rule remains ironclad. The opposition says the election was rigged, the people say they're tired, but Biya, he's probably planning his 9th term already. And while the top dog celebrates, the opposition is biting back hard. Isachi Roma Bakari and his crew aren't mincing words. They're calling the election results straight up bogus, saying the system's weaker than a Wi-Fi signal in the jungle. Opposition parties claim ballots were tampered with, counts were fuzzy, and the so-called democracy is just theater. Meanwhile, Cabra Libi, the third-place finisher, basically tipped his hat and said, "Cool, I tried." But the people aren't laughing. The protests, chants, and fiery slogans echo one message: we want change. Cameroon's streets have become confessionals for decades of political fatigue. You can feel it. This isn't about one election. It's about a generation tired of watching history repeat itself like a broken record. And in every storm, it's always the ordinary people who pay the highest price. The saddest part? People are dying. Innocent civilians caught in crossfire, beaten, detained, or simply vanished. Mothers crying, youth running, journalists dodging arrests. It's heartbreaking. Protesters are risking everything just to say one word: enough. Families have lost loved ones for demanding fairness, something most of us take for granted. The fear in the air is real, but so is the fire in their spirit. It's a fight for dignity, not just democracy. When you talk to people in Douala or Yaoundé, they don't just want change, they need it. Because at this point, silence feels more dangerous than standing up. So, what happens next? Is change even possible when power's been the same name for 40 years? With Biya's tight grip and institutions loyal to the throne, reform feels like a dream. But dreams have power, especially when they belong to a generation that's grown up online. Social media has become Cameroon's new battlefield, where hashtags and live streams are louder than state TV. The youth are organizing, exposing, and connecting faster than ever before. The question isn't if change will come, it's when. Every protest, every chant, every tweet chips away at the walls of fear that once silenced millions. And believe it or not, the world's finally starting to pay attention. The international community is side-eyeing Cameroon big time. Paris, London, and Washington are all deeply concerned, which is politician speak for we'll tweet but don't expect us to move mountains. Still, global pressure can sting, and Cameroon's inner circle knows it. Foreign journalists are amplifying the story, analysts are dissecting every speech, and the UN is, well, issuing statements. Cameroon's protests aren't just local anymore, they're global headlines. The people's voices are echoing far beyond Africa's borders, and history, it seems, has logged in. So, here's the deal. Cameroon's at a crossroads. Keep spinning the same old record, or drop a new beat of change. The people have spoken, and even if the system pretends not to hear, the world is listening. What do you think? Will Biya finally bow out, or are we watching Africa's longest-running sequel? Bang! Drop your thoughts below, smash that like button, and share this story so the world doesn't forget. Subscribe to Global Pulse News, your pulse on real power, real politics. Also, check out our sister channels at Sparkling Kids and at Rayma Fatima, where fun meets learning. Let's grow together and be your voice as a family.